Good Thursday morning, East Tennessee. My name is David Aldridge, Chief Meteorologist of Captain Accurate Weather, coming to you by way of the Captain Accurate Weather Command Center. Well, it's been a long time since we've had any type of rain in the area. It's going back to Tuesday, August 15th, more than a week ago. But there's that possibility today. It's going to come down from the north. I'm going to show you what that looks like. But at least the Ultimate Doppler Radar, presented by InstaDry, is dry. It's like, hey, you're doing your job. It's dry. A little bit of ground clutter. That's what the green specks that you see near Morristown around the radar site. But if you look further north, you can see there are some showers across parts of the Ohio Valley, which we can examine a little bit closer here in just a second. In fact, let me grab my computer mouse and zoom up here. Oh, yeah, they've got quite a bit of activity around Columbus, Detroit. All those little red or burgundy boxes refer to flash flood warnings going on at the moment. So there's some issues even around Detroit. But they've had Michigan flash flood warning till 7 a.m. So a lot of rain has dropped there. Don't expect that whole cluster of storms to reach us, but there's a possibility that we may see some development. So keep your eyes to the sky, especially if you're driving north to Jellicoe, for example. Maybe you're in southeast Kentucky. There's that possibility. And all the colors, the orange areas represent heat advisories, where it's going to be hot, maybe a little hotter than here, because today will be hot. But if you head to Memphis or Jackson, they're under what's called an excessive heat warning. This is usually issued when the feels like temperature is going to be north of 105. So maybe it's closer to 110. That's what it feels like in Memphis, Little Rock, and St. Louis, just to name a few. But if you just look at those storms, you should probably say, yeah, that's probably headed here. At the very least, you may see some dark clouds come down from the north late morning into the afternoon. And if nothing pops and you don't get any rain, we're going to stay hot. I had us initially at 92 today, but based on the timing of this, we may only reach, maybe get up to 94. But it's all academic. By the way, the hottest day of the year, McGee Tyson, was the 28th of July at 94. So today could very well tie the hottest day of the year. And then tomorrow up to 97. So these are the hottest days of the year. I just want to let you know that ahead of time. By the way, if you're on the call, I want to say good morning to you. I'm on, not only on Facebook, but also YouTube Live. If you are on that platform, please follow my channel, because that will help me expand my reach. And also, you'll get other notifications, because I can't control all the algorithms that are on social media. But I do see Steve Stone. He's on YouTube. He says, good morning, David. Glad to have him here. We've got 3 people watching. I think I'm one of them, because I'm on the screen here, but there's 2 others watching on YouTube right now. And of course, we've got Facebook Live. Fred says, good morning, David. Marilyn says, another foggy morning here in White's Pine. Number 11, she points out, so far. If you're following the legend, the weather lore, also the strong belief, some people believe that the fogs in August can translate to good snows in the winter. We'll see how that plays out. But Wanda Post says, good morning, David. It sure is muggy. You think it's sticky now. Wait till tomorrow into tomorrow afternoon. Feels like temperature tomorrow here should be 105 to 110. So we're probably going to be in that orange area. Perhaps the heat advisory is my expectation. But we'll wait and see what the Weather Service does. Raymond says, good morning, David. How bad is the air going to be today for breathing? It's not going to be great. You get those little ozone warnings you often commonly see if you're driving on Interstate 40, for example. You might see it flashing, saying, hey, carpool, be extra careful. But these are things I just wanted to bring you up to speed. I'm only into like 2 slides here, but I do have a lot to unpack here in the next 15, 17 minutes or so. I'll be done by 7 o'clock. Now, the fog, as we heard from Maryland, was a little dense in some spots. It's down to 0 in Jacksboro. What my computer is suggesting is 0 observation there in Oneida. So again, we're talking about the KSCX, the airport there in, say, Scott County. And also Jacksboro, KJAU, has 0 visibility, down to maybe a quarter mile, 3 miles in Bell County. So please be extra careful. There is that element thrown in as well. Temperature right now, 74. We probably won't get much lower than 73 tonight. So it's what you get now is what you get tomorrow, but it is 84. It's 10 degrees. Imagine that, at 10 degrees hotter right now in Memphis. They're in Shelby County on the other end of the state. Well, Johnson City, looking pretty good, maybe, comparably, at 67. Now, look at these numbers. They do vary from upper 60s, where fog might be more common. 68 Jacksboro, Middlesboro 69. Jonesville's coming around 68, or interpolated there, but Sevierville, Pigeon Forge 68, 72 in Rockwood to start your morning. I want to say good morning once again. By the way, it feels like temperature, probably not much different. But I do expect we'll be closer to the mid to upper 90s today. Some will flirt like we did 2 days ago. It'll flirt like it's closer to 100 by the afternoon. And again, depends on these storms. Do we get any? I left a 30% chance of rain today. It's not all that high, but it's not 0. And it's been pretty much zero the last couple of days since last Tuesday, the 15th of August. But the feels like temperature and the actual temperature right now really aren't much different. They will change as we get hotter in the day. And look at here's the future feels like. This is all perception. It's not the actual temperature. So you'll notice there's some flirting there with 100, 101 based on modeling. May only reach feels like of 95 in Crossville, 98 in Morristown. But I suspect we're in that 105 to 110 tomorrow. And that's because we're around 97 actual temperature, and the dew point does not wane at all tomorrow. It's still going to be like 70, 75 plus. So you're going to find some really brutal air, some of the hottest, if not the hottest days of the year so far. And maybe we don't get any hotter than that for the rest of the calendar year. Wouldn't that be an interesting, bold statement for Captain Accurate to make on a Thursday morning? Dew points right now, 70, 72. Yesterday, they were generally around 67 most of the day, so it didn't feel much hotter than the mid-90s on your Thursday. By the way, our heat wave, if you're playing the home game version, see here, 91, let's come back on camera over here, 91 was Monday's high, 92 was Tuesday's high, and 92 was Wednesday's high. But the difference between Tuesday and Wednesday was the humidity. It was higher on Tuesday, making it feel like 100. Yesterday, it felt like it was mid-90s. And then today, I'm expecting now about 94. So if you get these storms, you may not reach 94. This is why I say you want to keep an eye on the sky. Dark clouds probably is a good indication something's actually brewing down from the north. Tracking humidity, a lot of that humidity all across the state. Yeah, I don't want to leave out the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Also covered in green, which would be the stuffy air that's usually 70 plus for dew points. If it wanes a little bit in some light areas, it might drop to the upper 60s, but generally you're looking at a very humid air mass right through Friday afternoon. We'll take you to Saturday, no change here. Still pretty dark green areas there Saturday afternoon from Louisville, Nashville to Knoxville. So if you are sensitive to humidity and breathing is a challenge, you're really going to have to make sure your air conditioning is in good working order and take care of yourself. Recognize the signs. We're talking about heat stroke, heat exhaustion, particularly tomorrow. If not today, but tomorrow, we're going to have some very challenging air to work through. It's just the way it goes, and that's why I say humidity can be a real bugaboo, as it were. 90 days in Knoxville, we average 34 days in a year. This has been anything but an average year. We started off pretty wimpy. We had no, he says, no 90-degree days in May. We had one measly day in June when we average a week. And if you look at July, we typically see 12. We had 9. And so far, the 3-day heat wave that started Monday of this week, we're now up to 13 days. So if you were to say, man, it's brutal, see somebody say, oh, it's the worst we've ever seen. No, last year we had 41 days, right? 41 days. And there are some signs, as my premium members know, because I do a lot more forecasting than day 7 for them. There's going to be some really cool days in September. So it's not necessarily we're going to make up for lost time next month, because September typically yields about 4 days in total. If you're on the call, let me know. I'd love to say hi to you. Darcy says it's hot, hot, hot. I don't know if that's Dexter Poindexter or whatever, hot, hot, the song. It's enough to smother you by the afternoon. Be safe. Thank you, Darcy. As to you as well. How are the tropics? We're going to talk about that. Florida might be the new hot spot. We want to talk about Florida within the next 7-8 days. And then I mentioned Fred says good morning. And if you're on YouTube, follow me along. Ooh, Kodak King says good morning. Glad to have him here. Kodak, or she, I should say, it's 5 people watching now on YouTube. So I'm hopefully getting this routine now where folks are watching me on YouTube as they're also watching me on Facebook Live, because it makes more sense. You can reach a bigger audience on multiple platforms. Let me get you through the day here. 6:48 this morning. We have very light winds. I'm expecting 5 to 10, and you can see some of us are at 7 or 8 miles an hour right now. Some blue areas might be a little stronger, but 5 to 10 seems reasonable to me. And allergies today, much like yesterday, will be high. And we're talking about ragweed particularly. I call it raging ragweed this time of year. We do not see relief. We do not see any kind of break in the action until that first frost. That typically doesn't arrive until like the 13th of October, mid-October, where we could usually see a frost. And that'll put an end to it, right? But at least right now, wheezing, sneezing, headache behind the eye, it's just part of the course, par for the course heading into today and tomorrow and through the rest of the month. And usually it can really be a bothersome right through Labor Day when it may peak. Tracking some clouds, there aren't a whole lot right now, but we saw a moment ago, there's some coming down from the Ohio Valley. Sunrise is at 7:02. That's about 2 minutes after I'm going to sign off here, hopefully, be on time. Sun sets tonight, 8:14. So if you're watching the days get shorter, it's not your imagination. They are, in fact, getting shorter. Bus stop forecast. Whether it's the drop-off in the mid-70s or maybe recess at 10 a.m. Who does recess? Well, the little ones do. I think they do. They're probably inside today because it's going to be sticky. 80 by 10, and by 2 o'clock should be around 90 degrees. I expect a high now of 94. So, I mean, if we're 92, 94, look at the hot. I mean, this is the range. I have Crossville near 90. Crossville, I think, officially has either been 88, 89 the last couple days, and you may be close to 88, 89, 90 in Cumberland County. But again, they are usually cooler by the tune of 4 or 5 degrees most every summer day. It's just an elevation type of thing. 92 in Middlesboro, 91 in Morristown, and you'll see some flashes of light. Look at the thunderbolts there. Knoxville, there's about a 30% chance we get some rain today. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. It can be confusing. I have Facebook subscribers. I have a premium service on Facebook. That is 16 cents a day. It's $4.99 a month. A cup of coffee. The whole month. It will get you extra bonus information. But the YouTube channel is free. So I just want to clarify that. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. As I can see now, I've got 5 people watching. Love the fact we're on YouTube. And I got Steve Stone, Kodak Kings here, mentioning hello and a good morning to both of you. Now, as we look at the tropics, I heard Wanda Poe mention just a moment ago. What about the tropics? Now, there's a new whole system in town that's now near Central America, that's likely to slide across the Yucatan near Cancun and may work its way toward Florida by next Tuesday, Wednesday. Next Tuesday. Oh, that's when I was going to the beach. And you know what it may do? May pull over here toward the beaches. So this could be a beach spoiler. May only become a tropical storm. But as we saw, when the Tropical Storm Harold rolled over Corpus Christi a couple of days ago, it dropped anywhere from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches of rain. In South Texas, you get a storm like that rolling across parts of the Carolinas after it leaves Florida. That's something to watch. But that's a 40% chance of development over the next 7 days. In the language from the National Hurricane Center, their last update was 2 a.m. Their next update will be 8 a.m. this morning, but there's still some disturbances out in the middle of the Atlantic, a 70%, 40%. So that's what the percentages mean. They're relating to a probability of a named storm over the next 7 days. And then there's Franklin. Franklin rolled over Haiti and the Dominican Republic yesterday. This is where Franklin is and likely will become the next hurricane, if not by Friday, certainly Saturday, Sunday. As you can see here, it starts to become a Category 1 and then a Category 2. But this should be what we call fish food, stays out in the middle of the ocean, stirs up the water, but doesn't really bother anybody. I think we're probably going to be more concerned about what comes next. And you might say, well, what's the next name on the list? Well, there's Franklin. Could be a 110. Could be borderline Cat 3 by the time he gets up here. This is sometime as we move into Tuesday. But that could be the same exact time that we have a storm approaching Florida, watching that very closely too. So we have Idalia. That's the next name. Followed by Jose, followed by Katia. Now we have 2 disturbances in the middle of the Atlantic. Who's named first? Who knows? It's whatever the Weather Service or Hurricane Center decides to do. Idalia might be that 70% red area. And then maybe the 40% is Jose. So it could be Katia that hits Florida. I don't know the naming yet, but I can tell you those are the next 3 names actually on the list. It is 6:53. We've reached the peak time of hurricane season. This should be of no surprise or no cause for alarm because all this activity wasn't there like in mid-July. No, it wasn't. But history teaches us this is the time between August 20, September 10th, when we see a spike in the activity. It's like a stock at the stock exchange that you can almost bank on developing. You're going to see an uptick during that time frame. By the way, the Sahara dust gets really dark and brown when the winds kick up. So if you see some dark brown areas off of Africa spinning across the Atlantic, that's what you see. And sometimes they can have or could inhibit perhaps some storms at times. Not always. There is a little bit of smoke in the air. It's also going to add to the haze. This is a future smoke projection for the course of the next 12 hours or so, 14 hours. You can see there's a hint of smoke, maybe some wildfires trying to burn there around Tupelo. So again, it's taking in or ingesting data and trying to model it out into the future. So if you're sensitive to humidity, you're sensitive to ozone, you're sensitive to smoke, and ragweed, you've got a lot of reasons to stay indoors as much as you can. I'm not saying you should stay indoors. I'm just saying you might want to take it easy. And we might throw in some elements of rain and thunder today coming down from the north. All right, it is 6:54. Hazy, hot, and humid today. A 30% chance for a few storms through the afternoon as well. But boy, is it blazing hot and humid tomorrow. Feels like 105 to 110. That's my expectation. I've been looking at the charts. Again, it's all how high do you think the dew point's going to go, and then factor in what you're going to be feeling like, because it's all about perception. All right, let's get to the Storm Prediction Center maps, because again, we're going to have some hot spots today. The yellow represents scattered, but you'll notice most of Tennessee is under the light shade for general thunderstorms. So everybody in East Tennessee looks like they're fair game for something to develop during the course of today and through 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. But these are the hot spots, most notably Cleveland, Akron, Erie, Toledo, and Detroit. A few isolated severe storms maybe around Bismarck, but back home you can see it's just general thunderstorms variety from Knoxville, Middlesboro, over toward Madisonville and Cookeville. Now tomorrow, there is going to be some more development. It looked like it was going to dry up in Kentucky, but it looks like it might get a little bit further across the Tennessee state line. Kansas City, St. Louis, isolated severe storms tomorrow. D.C., Richmond, Virginia Beach, and Raleigh. But coming back home, the Storm Prediction Center, in their view, puts an isolated risk for strong severe storms in La Follette, Morristown, and Kingsport, as it would drop down from the north. That's where all these storms are going to be coming over the next couple of days if we get something. Saturday, I have us at a 40% chance of storms, 60% chance on Sunday, but here too, not severe, at least not the expectation at this time. Right now it's 74 degrees. It's 6:56. I'll be done here in about 4 minutes. 7 winds, 7-mile-an-hour winds. From the south and west, dew point is at 70. I see a note from Alice. She says, good morning. Thanks for all the updates. My pleasure. I'm glad Alice is on here. And Wanda says, stay safe. Everyone try and stay cool. Felicia, happy Friday Eve. I love the Friday Eve part. That's the cool part. And then Eve, muggy in South Knoxville already this morning. Stay hydrated and cool and pace yourself. And again, make sure your pets have extra water, especially if they tend to be outside more than inside. 60% chance of rain on Sunday, but please don't ignore today's chance. It's been a while. It's been since last Tuesday the 15th since we've had any measurable rain at McGee-Tyson. Average high now has dropped a tick. It was 88 for like a couple of weeks. But now, at this time of year, days are getting shorter. The average high now in Knoxville is 87. But if we get to 92, if we get to 94, or in that sweet spot, depending on when storms or if storms form, we should be, again, well above the average today and even hotter tomorrow. So let's see how the futurecast handles the dilemma. Will we see rain on this model, this projection? It shows by midday, there shows nothing. It doesn't even really line up the rain that's in the Columbus area, so this one might be thrown out with the bathwater, because I do suspect we're going to find some rain, but it doesn't even show the storms in Columbus. Did you notice that? Did not initialize well. But then we move into midday tomorrow. This brings in some pop-up storms between Bowling Green and Louisville, possibly south of Lexington, and maybe some of the eyes of the Storm Prediction Center brings it into Tennessee. But it looks like it dries up for the most part. Heading into Saturday, we bring a front that's trying to work its way down. That's why I left a 40% chance of storms for Saturday, particularly in the afternoon. So we'll be watching Saturday afternoon a little more closely as well. So another look at this. I'm going to find it interesting. Where are we at noon? Noontime is the benchmark. If we're at 86, 85, we're well past 90, probably for the finishing point. But can we get to 92, 94 in most locations? Probably yes. 93 Oak Ridge, 94 Newport, about 93 for La Follette, and it's going to feel like it's closer to the upper 90s to near 100. Now, by 11 o'clock tonight, boys, it's stuffy. Upper 70s at 11 o'clock. If we're still there, we're going to be really feeling like we're in the summer, the thick of it, right, into the summer pattern. But by tomorrow morning, some of us may not even get out of the lower 70s, about 73, while Crossville may dip to about 69 or so. Midday tomorrow up to 88, but this is the sad note. Look at that. Wow. That's why I have us at 97 for Friday by 5 o'clock. This is model driven, but it shows about 98, perhaps around the downtown area, about 96 for Oak Ridge, but that's the feels like temperature. Feels like by that point, 105 to 110. Wow. I don't know, I mean, we haven't been there in a while. Well, I mean, we have not been there in quite some time. And this brings in some storms on Friday, which the others don't necessarily bring as far south. Brings some rock and roll weather to Morristown by Friday night 11. So again, there's some inconsistency. When you have these pulsating thunderstorms, you're not, I repeat, not going to get a lot of confidence on the probability of it actually transpiring. Some will, some won't. Just have to be on your guard and leave the umbrella in the car if you're going to be out and about. 94 today. It's 6:59. I'm going to finish up here on time. Hazy, hot, and humid. Few storms. About 94 for Kingston, Rockwood, as well as 90 for Crossville, Fairfield, Glade, and Lake Tansy. 94 for Del Rio, Cosby, Parrotsville. And 91 for Morristown, Dandridge, as well as Talbot and White Pine. So a hot day today. Please pace yourself. But look at the triple-digit heat. if there's a canary in the coal mine, it should be out west because some of that heat is going to try and get here tomorrow. They'll be up to about 96 for Chattanooga and 99 for Nashville, 97 for Bowling Green. Again, my expectation is we're probably like Bowling Green tomorrow. We're on 97, and that's in the shade, and that's just, again, without any storms. So there's still probably now going to have to add potentially a pop-up storm for Friday late in the day. But tonight, 73, stuffy and mostly clear. Maybe a few clouds overnight with some patches of fog potentially. Southwest winds 3 to 8. Lows tonight in Oak Ridge about 72. 70 for Morristown, 70 for Newport, and about 73 for Maryville for your low temperature. We'll just call it stuffy tonight. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. Here's your Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast for Knoxville, East Tennessee. 30% chance of storms today. Very clear that I don't think we're going to hit a record high, but it's close. Today's record, by the way, is 100 from 2007. Now, there's no way we're going to hit 100 today. It may feel like 100. You say, "Oh, it felt like 100." My car thermometer right next to the engine and on the asphalt said it was like 103. Well, that's because your thermometer is next to your engine and you're nearby the asphalt. I get that all the time. People's like, "Well, what does the Weather Service do?" They measured about 6 feet off the ground. They measured it in the shade, protected from the wind. There's a lot of ways that you can measure the temperature, but you're also getting a lot more than you bargained for if you're relying on your car thermometer. 95 on Saturday, 91 on Sunday. 60% chance, probably our best chance of rain would be Sunday, but then we're back in the 80s, a little bit cooler as we head through time. There was a lot to cover, but I made it. 7:01. Just want to say good morning to you, and I want to say if there's some notes. Alice said thank you for all the updates. Wanda says stay safe, and here's Ed. Ed says stay hydrated. We wish Ed a happy Thursday. Good morning to you. And back on YouTube, we're back to Steve Stone saying good morning. Kodak Kings, good morning. And we've got 3 people now watching. It's after 7 o'clock, so I'm very thankful for you all. Again, if you are interested in joining or looking into, because I always say you don't have to stay there, but if you want to sample it, come on over. We're at CaptainAccurate.com. I got a premium service on Facebook where you'll get extra posts, more updates on what's the next big thing. Clearly, one of the big things is possibly going to be Florida come next week for a possible Dahlia. Was it Jose, or maybe a Katia? We got so much activity. It's like a tropical playground in the Atlantic right now. Who knows who's going to form first? Who's going to get the name? And that's, of course, up to management at the National Hurricane Center when they make their assessments. Anyway, my name is David Aldridge. Some people call me Captain Accurate. It's not easy being accurate. So weather doesn't surprise you. See you here next time. Take care.